Welcome back, boys and girls, to another episode of K-Fave Comparisons. My name is Mr. Knowitall, Daniel John Schafer, and I am joined here once again by the rest of the K-Fave crew. Introducing first, he is the king of the K-Fave kickflip, Mr. Wex, breaking the Lawson. Wex, how we living today, bud?
Living pretty good, you know. It's a good, solid Thursday. The only thing I can say negative is that Titans starting outside linebacker Harold Landry tore his ACL in practice, and that's just absolutely fucked. So I'm sorry. It sucks. So hopefully your Weaver and the other guys on the roster will step it up. And besides that, it's been a great day because that's just a bummer.
It is a bummer indeed. It is. Also with us, the patron saint of the Rock Block, Mr. Jesse Baker. Jesse, how you living, bud?
Man, I am now the patron saint of War Trace, as opposed to the patron saint of the Rock Block. I'm still currently in Nashville for a couple more days if anybody wants to party and or help me move. But the reality of it is we're getting out of Nashville and we're focusing more on things like podcasts, wrestling, so on and so forth. Everything's really great. Everything's awesome. I'm super stoked to talk about all of the topics today. There's so much going on. Let's get into it.
I am pumped, man. This week's show is going to be great. Last week's show was awesome as well. I'm really glad that we had that nice little walk down memory lane. Special shout out to Jerry Lynn.
Hell yeah, Jerry.
Got some really good feedback on hell yeah, Jerry. I got a lot of really good feedback on the show. Wex, did you hear any good news or any good comments back from last week's show?
Definitely. I got some good feedback, especially on that little Jerry Lynn story. People really loved to hear that stuff. I mean, that's the more real-life, intimate stuff that's like every man, every fan can relate to. It's not, just your typical wrestling stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jesse, how'd you feel about last week's show?
Hey, man, I absolutely loved it. The only thing I didn't love, I know my mic cut out a couple of times. There were key moments, but I feel like everybody probably figured out what I was referring to as we spoke about it, but either way, I felt like everybody's picks were great, and that's one of those rare ones where all three of us agreed on quite a few, which is kind of nice. So,
but it was also a very diverse list, too, which is great.
Yeah, and it goes all around. We all got our minds. We all got our things. That's why we do this, and fuck you, Wes. That's really the thing.
Aye, fuck you too, buddy. Fuck you, I love you.
Fuck you too, love you too.
Man, today we are covering the top 5 shoulda, coulda, woulda. The top 5 guys that never really got the big break that they should have gotten. And I'm pretty excited about this. I feel like it's going to be diverse across the board. But before we get into those meat and potatoes, Wex, man, what are the kayfabe headlines? What's going on around the world of wrestling?
Dude, well, besides this fucking big weekend of wrestling that we're going to lead into, we got a couple little headlines here. And one of the big things here that you've probably been hearing about all week because it just keeps popping off is your boy, Velveteen Dream, Patrick Clark, multiple arrests in the past month for multiple different things. He was on probation, got a little drug charge, a little paraphernalia charge, a little battery charge here or there, and then basically he violated his probation and got arrested again for the violation. And I know NXT star – or former NXT star, now SmackDown star of Hit Row, Ashanti the Adonis, bailed him out of jail on one of these, but after that parole violation, he's back in jail, and things aren't looking too good for him.
Yeah, it's a bummer, man. I mean, I really had high hopes that at some point he would clean his shit up and, figure it out, but doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, that's it's kind of fitting for what the topic of discussion is here today.
Dude, exactly.
F Party Part 2?
Yeah. I mean, but never even got to those levels, unfortunately. I think he probably could have easily with the athletic ability and charisma, and the promos were great.
I agree.
That's just sad, man. Honestly, it's just sad. I wish him well. I really do. I hope at some point he figures it out. We've seen crazier things in the world of wrestling for somebody to get a redemption story like this and come back and do great. So, I mean, I hope that's how it turns out for him. I really don't have anything negative to say.
I mean, yeah, with Triple H now in charge and kind of being being at the helm, it could have been possible for him to make a little comeback here because he's a Triple H dude. And, H is back on his shit. He's been giving people their first names back. Yeah. I mean, Matt Riddle, Austin Theory again, great. Think about it. We were just living with this Vince McMahon bullshit for years. Their first names go. That's just something that happens. And Triple H is dude, that's stupid. Why would your first name disappear?
Yeah. I mean, especially too, it's like when you really think about it, it's like the biggest names ever in professional wrestling have had more than one name.
Yes, exactly.
Like literally all of them. Even The Rock wasn't just Rock; he was The Rock.
The Rock.
Yeah. So
Did Randy Orton's first name ever disappear?
No.
No, like literally, it's only that like the past like 7 to 10 years era WWE where people just lose their names. Like I don't know what's up with Vince McMahon doing that shit, but it's clearly a Vinceism.
Yeah. I can tell you what it is exactly. It's an attention deficit disorder thing. I can pay attention to one name and one name only, and it's how he refers to them. It's Cena, Orton, Theory, Riddle. Yeah. It's how he refers to them. He's like, that's what people remember, pal.
Yeah.
Makes sense for a fucked old man with the brain, probably about just a little bit better than Chris Benoit at his death. I don't know if that's a hot take, but wow. Let's keep on moving. Awesome promo segment this week with Riddle and Rollins leading up to the Clash. I don't know if you saw that shit. They used some bleeped swears, but it was intense. It was really – it got me hooked.
Triple H is killing it, man. I mean, we've been saying it for years. If only one day Triple H can take the reins. It's like we're a month in, and he's slaying it. Like, I mean, WWE is fun to watch. I watched Raw. It was good. The whole show was good. Was there some dumb WWE stuff in there? Of course there was. That's never going to go away. I mean, that's part of their shtick, too. Like, there's always been cheese. Go back to the Attitude Era. There was tons back then, too.
Dude,
so it's like
we let nostalgia, like, get away with a lot of shit. Because we totally a lot of stupid fucking shit that we just act like didn't happen. But, yeah.
We totally do.
If you don't want to sit through 3 hours, that Hulu version is where it's at, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Watch it Tuesday morning. Yeah, watch it.
Shout out to Hulu for that one.
Big props.
Some non-WWE news I'll go ahead and move into. NWA 74 happened this weekend. I'll say that. It happened.
It's a show.
I don't know if you saw that ridiculous superplex botch from the ladder. It was like Alex Taylor and Saul something, but it was really bad. It was comical. Everyone got a good pop up. I'm sure you saw it.
Yeah.
It was definitely a pretty wild, but I mean, besides that, I mean, I want to give a shout out to our Tennessee boys. We got Jeremiah Plunkett and AJ Kazana. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but Kazana. I worked with him before. We called him Shit and Revive, and Plunkett's the boy. He's the dude. And then also I'm going to give a shout out to Rolando Perez, a.k.a. Rolando Freeman on NWA Miami Ice. But he's got a new little gimmick going. But he had a surprising match where he actually beat fucking Matt Cardona, which –
say hello to my little friend.
Yeah.
I think that dude's awesome. I'm glad to see him like kind of getting some shine now, and just definitely a big shout out to Miami Ice there with his little friend. That's some good shit.
I agree. I think it was awesome. I mean, I think that everybody in like NXT was insanely good. I mean, NXT felt like NXT of old. It was a very, very good show. Very good mix. It's like, hey, we got these guys on the main roster. We're not using them the right way. Even somehow we have like 8 hours of main roster TV time every week, and we still can't find a way to put these guys on and give them good shine. But I mean, I'm super hyped for Worlds Collide. I think they did a really good job in a 1 week time to be like, oh snap, we got to do something that's going to kind of at least be able to stand up with AEW. Like, I mean, it's obviously not going to beat it, but because they have so much more momentum. But I think this is definitely a step back in the right direction for NXT for sure.
Dude, it's looking really fucking sick. And the fact that Triple H's imprints are all over it, Ricochet showing up.
And that match is going to be the show stealer for sure.
Dude, I can't fucking wait for that match.
It's going to be so good. I mean,
do you want to go ahead and run down the card for that?
Yeah. Let's get into it. What's the card? What's the whole card for Worlds Collide?
All right, so like I just said, the North American Championship, Carmelo Hayes versus Ricochet. Dude, it's going to be a banger.
Yeah. I got Hayes, but I think it's going to be a great match, and there's going to be a funky finish, and it's going to be
Also got Hayes. That's who I choose. I think he's going to retain.
We have the Holy Trinity. I have Hayes.
All right. There we go. All right. The next matchup, we got the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance versus Nikki ASH and Doudrop.
I again think it's going to stay with the current NXT people, Carter and Chance. I think those are the ones that keep it. Maybe not. Maybe they're actually just going to put Nikki and Doudrop back in NXT, and that's a possibility. But I don't know if that's what they're going to do. So I'm going to take the safe bet and say it stays with the NXT, the homers there.
Okay.
I got K and K, and the reason is I think they want to send back the people that they put main roster TV time in.
Okay. I actually have a different prediction than both of you. I think Nikki ASH and Doudrop will win to actually go and later unify the Raw women's tag team belts, because originally they were just supposed to be defended on all three brands, and then they changed that, so they made the NXT women's tag team championships. And I think that maybe they might go back, unify them, and where it'll be something that'll go through all three brands, because there's not enough women's tag teams for there really to be two women's tag team championships.
I agree.
So we'll see what happens there.
I don't hate that.
Next up, the NXT and the NXT UK Tag Team Championship unification match, a fatal four-way elimination, which is, that's a little bit different from your regular fatal four-way, and it's the Creed brothers versus Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs versus Pretty Deadly versus Gallus.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it's Pretty Deadly. I think that they take it all. I think they're the tag team to push down there, and then they kind of need the push. I think they need to get that big win to solidify them and make them a solid tag team for an eventual main roster run. So that's where I'm going to go with.
I'm going Briggs and Brooks.
Briggs and Brooks. I'm actually also going Pretty Deadly too. Some of the same reasons, Jesse. I think they could be one of those teams that could transition to the main roster and just slip right on in, fit in well.
I think Josh Briggs is one of those people that's had so much other independent experience, and Triple H absolutely values that, and I think that that's a situation that is going to play into the decision.
Okay. All right. I like that. So next, the NXT Women's Championship and the NXT UK Women's Championship unification match, another four-way. It's a three-way. Mandy Rose versus Miko Satomura, which is the champion from the UK, versus Blair Davenport.
I'm going Satomura.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Satomura too. I think that the Mandy Rose experiment is over, and didn't work out. I think she did better down there than she was doing on the main roster. I think it was a good NXT run for her, but I don't think it was what they didn't put her on the next level like they wanted it to. So I think that's over, and they need to move on.
Oh, I actually pick Blair Davenport, different from both of you, because Mika, she's been around forever. She's been around since fucking WCW days, and she's cool, she's awesome, but I think they kind of want to transition to that youth thing. And Blair Davenport, even though she had her run in AEW and here elsewhere, but I think it's time to kind of push her on the main roster, on the main NXT. Not the main WWE roster, but the regular NXT.
I just think the main thing is getting it off of Rose at this point.
Yeah.
All right, then. All right, well, so our final match on that NXT card is going to be the NXT Championship and the NXT UK Championship unification match. Braun Breaker versus Tyler Bate. I said Tyler Bate. God damn it. Braun Breaker versus Tyler Bate, the first ever NXT UK champion.
I had a really hard time with this one, to be honest, because money would say to unify it and to bring Bate in on a main roster slot, and then to move Braun out, that it would be Bate in order to keep him at the top. However, I feel like they're going to put it on Braun to keep him there because Bate doesn't really need it.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree, but I am going with that logical end. I don't think he needs it, but I do think that he can carry and have a good NXT run. And I don't think that there is as much quick use for him on the main roster as much as there is for Braun. I think Braun's run, even though I hate his gimmick and I hate that vibe, but I've never really been a Steiner fan to begin with. So I don't personally like it, but I do think that the company views it as a success, and I think that he is ready for the main roster in their eyes. And I think he has more main roster value than Bate. But at the same time, I think there's enough faith in Bate that he can carry that NXT flag and hopefully get it back to that more wrestling, more competitive with AEW focused brand. And I think if you're going to do that, Tyler Bate is the guy to put the title on. And I do think I agree he doesn't need it, but I do think it would elevate him to literally carry a show. And it would show them even more there because they've already seen that with Braun. So I say Bate wins it and Braun goes up to the main roster probably on Raw or like the following week.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I could see that.
Hey, I see everything that you're saying, but mine's like literally kind of the opposite. Breaker is just still too green. I think he needs to stay in NXT. And Bate is someone who could, whether he comes up as like a mid-card guy, a tag team guy, I don't see him being a main event guy just based on how they run it. But I think Bate could have a decent run on the main roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't ever think he's going to be a main event guy. I think he's going to be a upper mid-card guy forever. So I think that he's now is like I agree that he's still green, but I actually think that like he might get a little better in the ring just with seasoning and just with time and experience. But I don't think he's gonna. I think you've seen the ceiling of his potential already with this title run, and so I think that's kind of where it's at to me.
All right, so I guess let's go ahead and move along and let's go ahead and cover the show that's going to be literally running head to head with this, and that's going to be AEW's All Out.
Okay.
And
All Out, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff on this card, and another match was actually added last night, and we still don't know the full card because Rampage still has to happen, and there's some implications on that's going to go to the card. But we're going to go ahead and run down what we know of now, and I'll go ahead and start with the interim Women's World Championship. Toni Storm versus Dr. Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida. Who do you got, Jesse?
I'm going Storm.
Storm, okay. I like that. What about you?
I'm going Shida. I want it to be Storm, but I think that they're dumb enough the way they've been booking the women's division that they're going to give Shida another shot. But I think Storm is the obvious winner. I think she should win, but it's like I think that's the one thing they do the worst is book the women's division, and I think they're going to make another mistake.
Well, for the first time, we all have a different answer. I'm actually going with Jamie Hayter on this. I feel like that's going to intensify like a little bit of feud with her and Britt Baker, leading later down to like a great match.
I'm good with that.
And like as long as it's not Britt Baker, it's good.
I mean, I would love it if it was Baker, to be honest. But the thing is, I agree with Daniel. I think they just booked it very unintelligently. And at the end of the day, I think they put Storm in a position where she was supposed to be in this tag team thing with Rosa. All the things happened with Rosa. And I feel like they're going to try and make it up to her by giving her the W here.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. And you never know what can happen. So next, we'll go ahead and go into the next women's championship match, the TBS championship, Jade Cargill versus Athena. And I'm going to go ahead and call it right here. Jade Cargill's losing. I think Athena's going to take the belt.
I agree, actually. I think now's the time. I'm going
Cargill.
All right.
They need a Goldberg of some kind. They clearly didn't do it with Wardlow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think it could easily be her. Again, though, I think that they're, I just don't think they booked the women's division very well in AEW. Honestly, nothing against the talent. That's the booking I don't like.
Jade's almost better than Goldberg in the ring. Give her a little bit longer. She's already done more stuff than I've ever seen Goldberg even attempt to try.
Oh, she is better. She is better. Period.
That's better.
That's not
versus Goldberg. That's what we need.
It's not to say that she's good, but she is better than Goldberg.
No, she's pretty good, but she hasn't reached that. Like, she just needs to keep. I mean, she's literally been wrestling like 2 years, maybe. Yeah. So
lots
give
of potential.
Her fucking time.
High ceiling.
Yeah, hell yeah. Which we'll talk about that later, about that high ceiling, if you know what I'm talking about. But next up, the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, Keith Lee and Swerve in Our Glory. I'll just say that. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus the Acclaimed.
I think it's going to the Acclaimed, dude.
Me too. That's where I'm going, Acclaimed.
I want it to be the Acclaimed. I don't think it's going to be the Acclaimed, but I want it to be the Acclaimed. I think it's going to be Swerve and Lee, because I don't think they know what else to do with them, and I think they actually need the titles. It's like if they I mean the only way I see it working is if they lose and then there's an immediate heel turn from one of them, probably Swerve. That would just make the most sense.
That's what I would imagine would happen, and they have to use Swerve. They have to.
Yeah, they do.
If you don't see that as a booker of a multi-million-dollar company, you're fucking daft.
Yeah, he's fucking world champion material ever since I saw him as Kill Shot on Lucha Underground. We just got to get there. Get there. All right, up next, the AEW World Trios Championship. As of right now, it's the Elite versus the winner of the Dark Order versus the Best Friends. I think it's going to be the Dark Order because Hangman and his new friends versus his old friends. It makes sense.
Yeah,
but the winner of that, I'm calling the possible maybe not even in the match Dark Order for the win. They need something. They need some belts.
There is a 0% chance that the Dark Order wins the Trios Tag Team titles.
We'll see what happens. I'm calling it now chance. That they do, and we'll see.
I'm going the Elite only because I think what they're trying to do is the same thing as when they started the company, which is to say we're not trying to eat up every belt. We want to give chances to other people. And as they're bringing things in, they want to make sure that they're doing something a little bit different. They're trying to lead the company by not doing that. Honest to God, I think it's going to be the Elite, no matter who wins on Rampage.
Okay.
That's my vote.
Yeah, right, I believe that too. I also think that just because AEW is very wins and loss records and all like the graphics, and I think they're very, wrapped up in like a lineage of a title. And I really think that it's like the very first trios champions of the Elite. It makes them that looks significantly better for the prestige of the titles immediately. Like if you're looking for a group to make a title, which is what you have to do on the inaugural champion. I don't think it can be the Dark Order. I just don't think that's even possible.
I do.
I think Best Friends, maybe that might be possible with Orange Cassidy kind of leading that crew. That could work. I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's going to be the Elite. But I actually see it being more Best Friends versus the Elite. I think there's more money in that to me. But what do I know?
All right, we'll see what happens. The casino ladder match. There's a bunch of people in it. I just went ahead and said the Joker's going to win just because I don't know who that is.
Yep, definitely. That was my vote too.
All right, well, we're kind of on the same page on that one.
I mean, who's the Joker though? I mean, I think we all know who it is, right?
Who? Jeff Hardy?
No.
Who?
It's going to be MJF. We know that, right?
MJF. Okay, if it's MJF, then fuck yeah, let's get that shit.
I mean, yes.
I think he's going to interfere with the main event. That's my prediction. But
I don't think he needs to. I think he comes back. I think he wins the title. They might even do a thing where like the Joker just doesn't come out until like the very end, and it's just like, and
they're
it's
like,
just him.
Well, they didn't even show up. And
he'll literally like. I feel like that's the best healers thing is like massive spots, amazing match. Everybody's laid out. MJF just runs down and goes up and like snatches it. I think that's the most heat. It's a great way to bring him back. It'll be a massive pop. He doesn't do anything. You still don't get to see him wrestle. You haven't spoiled that. I mean, and to be honest, MJF is one of the few things that they have booked really, 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 really well. So I feel like this is a great way to just catapult him into like superstardom. Yeah, I don't know. I think awesome. He's going over for sure.
I also find it really hard to believe that MJF is not showing up on this show.
Oh yeah, he's got to. He has to.
Yeah, 1000%.
All right, Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage. That's obviously Jungle Boy, right?
Yeah.
Cage is there to put him over. I mean, it makes sense. All right, so we all agree on that one. So American Dragon Bryan Danielson versus the Lionheart Chris Jericho. I'm going Danielson all the way.
Yep.
I'm going cluster finish. I still think that they're still gonna. I don't think this thing ends here because there's still that limbo with Daniel Garcia and all that, and so like. I think that they're going to keep. I don't think this is the end of the storyline. So I think that it's going to be some kind of interference from both teams, and it all ends with Daniel Garcia maybe joining the Blackpool Combat Club or whatever, and that starts to be a thing. Although I think that I'm going to say this too and spoil some of the storyline. I think Daniel Garcia is supposed to be a snake in the grass here. I think that he's definitely like he's going to turn face, but really just to be a double agent and screw over the Blackpool Combat Club and go back to being an even bigger heel. I think that's the plan.
In this instance, though, I think that Danielson winds up coming out with the win.
Okay. So like he gets the win, but there's still like a cluster at the end, and you kind of have that same kind of thing, and that's fine too. And maybe you're right. That's honestly. So maybe I should say this: it doesn't matter who wins because the ending of the segment will be a schmaz.
Yeah.
All right, so up next, we're going to have Wardlow and FTR versus Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns, which is going to be a fucking banger regardless just because of the tag teams that are in it. But when it comes down to it, the AEW guys are going to get the win, right?
I don't think so. I think
I went Wardlow and FTR, man.
That's where I went.
Nah, I think that it makes the most sense for those three guys that all have titles that aren't going to do not lose anything by losing a trios match. But it would do a massive service for Jay. All right, let me rephrase. they should put over Lethal in the Motor City Machine Guns and try to use that to help push their Ring of Honor brand, which they really want to do, obviously. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll do the WWE thing and be like, well, we got to keep our guys strong. Blah, blah, blah. But I think it would be the smart thing to do is to put Lethal in the Motor City Machine Guns.
Because technically they're still their guys because of ROH and shit. But
that's what I'm saying. It's like it's going to help you build your other brand, and you need to start building a Ring of Honor better if you're really going to start using it.
Wardlow doesn't work unless you keep putting him over, though.
Like, he doesn't take the loss.
But it's a tag match. He doesn't have to take the pin.
Dash takes the pin.
Yeah. Because Dash is the least over out of the three right now. So
yeah, Dash takes the pin. Lethal gets the win. That's the way it works.
They're trying to build that other brand up because recently they pulled all of their DVDs from Pro Wrestling Tees and High Spots. So their streaming service is imminent, basically, is what everyone's thinking. So if they have that and they can put new ROH weekly shows on streaming,
love it.
Let's get it.
HBO Max, baby. Let's get it.
Yeah, so up next, a match that I'm actually looking forward to, Ricky Starks versus Will Hobbs, the battle of the Team Taz guys, and I'm going Ricky Starks 100%.
I think this is going to be sneaky. This could be match of the night. This could be match of the night. This has the potential to be the sneaky best match on the card. And I actually think it's going to be Hobbs because I don't think that Stark really loses much, and Hobbs needs a massive win. He needs a massive win. And it would be massive if he wins. And I think he goes over clean. That's what I think. I think Hobbs wins this.
I'm going Starks.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'm going Starks dirty, but I'm going Starks.
Okay. I like
Starks
that, though.
gets it dirty. I see what you're saying. Okay.
All right. Up next, the House of Black versus Sting, Darby, and Miro. And at this point, I think because Miro's kind of been on the down, I think he's going to get that win, beat the Pagans, as he said, and take that victory for Sting and the boys.
Yep. Agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to – I mean, yeah, Sting's winning, guys. Come on. He's on the pay-per-view. He's winning. That's the way it works.
It's Sting. So, all right. So, the main event, as we didn't know what was going to happen until Wednesday night, Jon Moxley versus CM Punk in the rematch. And – even though I don't really like Moxley that much, I'm going with Jon Moxley.
I'm going to go ahead and throw it out here that when we were asking what we thought the main event was going to be.
Oh, yeah, you said it 100%.
Fucking said that this is what it was going to be. And, yes, 110%, I go Mox. It's not because I want it to happen. It's because why wouldn't you? It's the same reason that fucking Vern Gagne held the championship for so long. He knew he wasn't going to walk away. That's it.
Yeah, I don't think that's it at all, though. I mean, I think that a lot of that, like, CM Punk and Tony Khan are at odds. Like, I think they're working people. I think they already did it with MJF once, and I think that's what they're doing here. And I don't think that I think there probably is true heat between Paige and Punk, and there might be like true heat between Punk and some other people in the locker room. But I think that Punk and Khan are thick as thieves. I don't think there's any issue there at all.
They're not. Like, I'm not saying there's issues between Khan and Punk. I'm saying I would trust a guy like Mox at this point in time much more so than I would trust a dude who does not need my money. And at this point in time, Moxley, it could be argued that he does not need the money. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, Punk could go be the fucking lead anywhere he wanted to be. Mm-hmm. Mox, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead.
I see, though, if Punk wins, it has to be a heel turn. That's the only way it works.
But he already did.
No, like a full heel turn. He went back babyface the Chicago crowd. He did make the fat guy joke. But, I mean, in Chicago, he's going to have to do something drastic to, like, turn heel.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's he needs a full heel turn if he does win. And I genuinely think the only way to do that is to put him with Serena Deeb and Luke Gallows. I really think that would be great. I think they're both available. I mean, you have one of them already. And you could you could call it something. I mean, they'll have to call it something else because it's obvious that they're not all straight edge. But they would come up with something else, just like the Old School Society or something like that. You know, I'm thinking
Good Brother Society.
Yeah, it'll be something society for sure. But I mean, and then they could bring Anderson back in with it too. I mean, I don't think they need to do it the first night, But I think the first night needs to just be Deeb and Gallows, and that would be dope. I mean, I feel
for all we know, it Straight Edge Society might not even be copyrighted by WWE.
Yeah, but they won't use it. I mean, dude,
it.
you can't get – okay, Luke Gallows is not going back to being that old gimmick, and it's like his life is public. You can't use that Straight Edge gimmick for him. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. It
like,
could be
it just doesn't work.
The somethings, or they could –
But I will say
it could just be the society.
Or he could kayfabe it and really act like he's not getting fucked up anymore to be funny, to be honest.
Or like anti-society or something like that. That seems like more up Punk's alley.
The Good Brothers have been remarkably silent in terms of being the Good Brothers, like since they were not contracted anymore. All the rest of the stuff that they've done has been taped.
I could see the Machine Gun going back to New Japan and Gallows going to AEW and being with Punk as his
because
heater.
I heard that
that'd be great.
that New Japan and WWE talks with the Good Brothers have kind of like came to a halt, and they're not going to re-sign with either of them. So
no, I think
you never know.
AEW is the spot for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and run down the Clash card real quick. I know we're not going to have as much stuff to say about that because we're not as heavy into Raw these days, but it's a pretty short card as of now. I know things could change, but we got Edge and Rey Mysterio versus the Judgment Day, and I think Edge and Rey are going to take that one.
Yep.
Yeah, probably because I don't think that the Judgment Day has legs anymore. I think it's just dead. Especially now that they're already starting to shift Finn Balor off into the NXT world again, too. It's like, all right, well, clearly they don't have a lot invested in the storyline.
Fits so much better with that than the Judgment Day.
Agreed.
All right, so Gunther versus Sheamus for the IC title. The thing is, if Sheamus wins this, he'll be a Grand Slam champion. So I think I'm going to go Sheamus.
No. Gunther needs a big win.
Gunther.
He does.
Yeah,
but I got to forget, this isn't Vince McMahon. This is Triple H.
Yeah, exactly. Gunther makes way more sense for H, too.
Can I change it to Gunther? Can I change it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to change it to Gunther.
You got to get out of Vinnie Mac mode, you know?
Match of the night that I know all of us are looking forward to, Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins. And I'm going Rollins because he needs it.
Yeah.
I got to go Riddle.
Ooh.
I got to go Riddle.
All right, I like to see that.
It's going to be match of the night for sure.
It's
like,
going to be
no doubt about it.
I agree. It's going to be match of the night, but Riddle needs a win, man. Like, he needs a big win. After doing all this fucking Randy Orton shit and birds flying out of his ass on television and all that fun stuff, like, he needs something that's actually going to legitimize him. After all these attacks and stuff, something has to legitimize Matt Riddle. They gave him his name back. I'm telling you, that's a key. It's Riddle.
All right, so a match that probably has no real steam or stipulations here, or any real meaning. Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka versus Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. I think the heels are winning.
Heels are winning.
Yeah, I mean, I think the heels win. Yeah.
They need the momentum.
Yep.
We got Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and I'm going Shayna Baszler on this.
I'm going Liv.
Yeah, they're not done with the Liv experiment. It's going to be Liv, and I think Baszler is probably going to go back to NXT. Just that they need her there, honestly. And I think she works better there. I think it's just a better fit for her. NXT is just better for her.
All right.
But yeah.
All right, and as of right now, the main event, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. And it's in the UK. I'm going Drew. This is it. Roman's held the belt for 2 years. It's Drew's time.
I'm going Roman.
I think that you're right that it's time to pull the trigger. I don't think that Clash at the Castle is big enough to pull the title off of Roman. And I don't like I know that in the echelon of the WWE universe, Drew McIntyre is capable and is like a worthy opponent, and I think his best days are behind him. I think he's already lost all this fire from like that 2016, 2017 run. I'm kind of bored of him already. And I'd rather see Roman have it still, honestly.
I'd rather see Drew have it. I'm just saying they're not going to pull it off of Roman in that particular instance on a show that isn't one of their main pay-per-views. That's not what they're going to do.
I will at least say this. If they do, it won't totally shock me. Like, I do think that this is the first time in a very long time where it hasn't been like automatic Roman's winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the first time in a long time where I'm like, it's possible they'll give it to Drew, but I'd say like 20% chance, maybe like 20% chance tops. You know,
we'll see what happens on SmackDown because they could maybe change a stipulation to be only for one of the belts, and if it's for just one of the belts, then he's definitely winning.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Completely different deal.
You're right. You're totally right. If tonight on SmackDown they change it to being, well, it's actually for the Raw, the Universal Championship or whatever. It's like, okay, well, like he's gonna win then.
Which I think that's a great idea. Roman, he's not on TV a lot. Split the belts back up. Give us some more shit.
I have heard that they are going to dissolve the Universal, leave the WWE title looking kind of the way it looks, and they're going to go back with the World Heavyweight Championship, like with the big gold.
Oh, the big gold?
Yes.
Should be.
Give it to me, baby. Give it to me. Triple H.
I agree.
Give it to me.
And it should travel between both shows. It should be one champ, both shows. I'm sorry, but how much work do you really have to do?
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is I think they'll keep Roman Reigns is going to keep a title, and that one will have the big WWE. That'll be the brand, and then they'll have the big gold as the Raw title or the whatever. I think they're still going to split them.
The big gold will be like it was back in the day.
That's still better.
It's the wrestler's title.
Yeah, that's still better. I'm fine with that. I'm honestly fine with that.
Still better. It's kind of bullshit, but it's still better.
Yeah. Well, I think it's about that.
Agreed. Fully agreed.
But still, I think it's about that time for us to go ahead and move on to the meat and taters of this show. Our top 5 missed potential, I guess, superstars of all time. The
title of the show is the top 5 shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And I'm just going to kick things off here. I'm going to go with it. Had a lot of hype coming in. Probably one of the most sought-after free agents in the history of WWE. And despite having a relatively decent but not great NXT run, literally became abysmal once they got to the roster, and that's Shinsuke Nakamura. I think he's the number one number one current era wasted talent.
And that's only in WWE because his Japan shit speaks for itself.
Now, okay, and before I get any further and we get any further in this list, I don't know how you guys made it, but for me, I didn't use a lot of current younger stars because it's they still got time. You know what I mean? Maybe they've been booked bad for a while, but they still got a few years. Nakamura's when his contract's up, he's probably done.
You know he's pretty old at this point.
He'll at least, I think he's going to wrestle for 4 or 5 more years in Japan. He'll be like a Hulk Hogan over there or whatever, you know what I mean? He'll do some part-time stuff over there as an older legend, and it'll be great. And I'm sure he'll have some redemption matches, and those will be all awesome, and he'll be heralded as a hero, and that'll be great. But yeah, his WWE run, shoulda, coulda, woulda. He really could have been the champion. If you would have put him with Paul Heyman, if Paul Heyman could have been his mouthpiece too, he would have been phenomenal. Or literally any kind of manager, just anybody that can talk. And I'm not trying to shit on him. I'm not one of those guys
dude,
just because he's foreign. But it's Vince McMahon has always had a point. If you can't communicate clearly with a mass audience, a mainstream audience, you're never going to be that upper echelon guy.
And they really didn't know how to use him too, because they wanted him to do all that communication. When he first came in his NXT run and his Japan shit, I love some Nakamura. But over the years in WWE, I'm just
wasted.
He soured me.
Yep, wasted for sure. So that's my number 5. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Jesse, you're number 5. Where you at?
The Gladiator, Mike Awesome.
Ooh.
I like that a lot.
I 110% believe that Mike Awesome was in a position where he wrestled in Japan. He wrestled through indies in America. He made a very fucking staunch reputation for himself. He was the first person to be in a situation where the WCW, ECW, and WWF World Championships were defended in the same match that he was in. And he had to get walked out because he had signed a contract with WCW. And he had to get walked out because he had to be protected. At the end of the day, it was one of those things. The thing is, Mike Awesome had himself in a position. He was a taller guy, a very strong guy. He wrestled. He saved the lives of a lot of wrestlers that we all love, including Sabu, Terry Funk, Mick Foley. He is a really, really, really great example of a dude who understood what it actually took to be a part of what everybody was doing at that point in time. And I think Mike Awesome had every fucking bit of an opportunity, and had it fucking fast forwarded by 7 years, Mike Awesome probably would have been at the top of the fucking heap. Unfortunately, we lost him. And I think he's tremendous. So that's my number 5. Wexley.
Man, dude, yeah. I want to say before we even get to Wex is like the first 2 names on the list are Shinsuke Nakamura and Mike Awesome for the 2 of us. I feel like these lists are going to be very diverse, which is awesome.
Yeah, because mine's completely different from yours.
Bro, let's go. Let's hear it, Wex. What do you got?
All right, coming at number 5 for me is an OG TNA guy who once he went to WWE just kind of soured, and that's Monty Brown.
Okay.
God damn it, Wex.
That's a good one.
He had like so much energy, great promos, good charisma, was pretty fucking sick in the ring for a relatively short period of time he'd been wrestling. And then once he became Marcus Von Core, it just fucked it. They took away what made him him. And it's just
Marcus Corvon.
Marcus Corvon.
He's in, that's right. That's right. We all forgot.
He's in SmackDown versus Raw 08 that we did our little draft thing on. So it's just crazy. Him and the Pope are actually in that game in their ECW gimmicks. And yeah.
He's like the Albert Hainsworth of pro wrestling, you know.
Oh God, that's a fucking great example. But yeah, dude, Monty Brown was fucking sick, and he coulda, shoulda, woulda been awesome, but WWE kind of fucked him up, and then after that, he just kind of got out of wrestling, and I think he's like a teacher now.
Yep, he's just teaching them school children, and I think he's coaching like maybe junior high football. Well, it's not junior high; it's middle school football.
Hey, the Pounce, baby.
The Pounce, teaching the Pounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, let's keep this thing rolling. Number 4 for me is a tragic thing. I think that number 4 is Owen Hart for me. I think he's he's one of those throwback guys that I do think that if he'd had more I know he was doing the Blue Blazers thing and like he had been in the company for a while, but I do feel like if they had gotten him to a more serious gimmick, and if he could himself be more serious, which I know that might have been a little bit tough for him. I think that he could have. I really do think that he could have been a world champion one day, and I do think that he probably would have gotten the opportunity in probably like the early 2000s. I mean, he was the same age as Shawn Michaels, literally the exact same age. So it's like, I mean, not. He was like 2 years older, but still, like, I mean, Shawn Michaels wrestled till 08. So I think by like 02, 01, 02. You know, like
and he never had like gnarly injuries or anything before he died. So
no, yeah, I mean, and dude, like a massive Kurt Angle, Owen Hart run. Like, would have just been so
Kurt
good.
Angle, Owen Hart, Mr. Perfect Owen Hart.
Yeah.
God damn. That could have been great.
Yeah, it could have been great. And, you know, so for me, it's tragedy more than it is circumstance. But number 4 for me is Owen Hart.
I laid Owen Hart out of mine, as I did a lot of people, because I didn't want to include folks that their coulda, woulda, shoulda included death.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, that's
Mike Awesome was your first guy.
Well, no, but that was way after.
Sure. Yeah.
Like
sure.
that was he'd already been not in the thing for a while.
Right.
My number 4, also a TNA guy, Sonny Siaki.
Ooh, nice.
I feel like if anybody saw Sonny Siaki, you would immediately look at that motherfucker as the next big dude. Like he had the moves, he knew his fucking ring work, he knew everything.
Flying Elvises, right?
Well,
he started with the Flying Elvises.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's how. Yeah,
but
he was like their Rock for like a year.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at Sonny Siaki in most of his career, he looked as though he could have taken the fucking world over easily, and
he was pretty good in the ring. Green, but pretty good.
He's green, yeah, but I mean, like, whose fault is that?
Yeah,
people not fucking being like, hey, let's take you and let's do this. And,
totally
you know, it is what it is. But I like the minute I saw that dude, I was like, this dude, definitely next top-notch superstar, completely fell off. I'm not entirely sure what the story is behind that, but I will say.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's a good story. It's like his cousin. It might even have been his brother, but like he gave up a kidney. And like, it was like a hero situation, like real life, just good dude thing, like good family dude thing, which is awesome.
Well, I will say Sonny Siaki is my number 4.
That's awesome. It's awesome. Like it. Wex, what you got number 4?
All right, coming at number 4, and just kind of like Jesse was talking, unfortunately, my 4 through 1 are all dead. The only person I had alive was Monty Brown on the list. I didn't take that into consideration because I think that could still be a definite part of what stopped them. But
totally.
Number 4 for me is Chris Candido.
Ooh.
And
guys, these lists are on point, by the way.
He
like
was
everybody's nailing
fucking
it.
amazing. You know, he had his early run with the body donnas in WWE, but his ECW run, his WCW run, and like his indie run, like if it wasn't for Sonny and the drugs, and he could have been a guy. I mean, he
was not the body donnas.
What?
Mm-hmm.
His early run was not the body donnas. His early run was like Smoky Mountain and.
Oh, I know. I'm talking about WWE, but I know Smoky Mountain Wrestling, of course. But I'm talking about when he broke into the mainstream was the body donnas run.
Yeah.
And like, dude, that top rope power bomb is just. It's still so fucking sick. Till this day, he's one of the best to ever execute it. And if he would have been in the modern day, he would be a top guy. If he was in the modern day today, I feel like he could be up there with anybody. Chris Candido. Fucking underrated, underappreciated, coulda, shoulda, woulda been.
Yep. So now we're getting into the medals, the top 3 places here. My number 3 is also a legendary ECW guy that I think should have and could have been an amazing main event talent, but just I guess the brass at WWE never really gave him a shot. Still, I think he actually ended up working there. I don't know if he still does as an agent. But Steve Corino is my number 3 for sure.
Oh, good one.
Definitely.
That's a good one.
I mean, I think that like he is one of the few like old school main event guys. Like I feel like he's a Brett, he's a Shawn, like that kind of wrestling. You know what I mean? Like a Steamboat. But he was doing it during the transition with the new style of wrestling, and he kept up, but it kind of kept his offense, that moveset, and it still worked really well because he would do it. It's like his offense would be slower and more methodical, which made him a better heel. But he could keep up with all of the the athleticism and all the acrobatics. And I don't know. I mean, I just think that if that guy had really come over, if he had just gone over in the invasion angle and they had just kind of ran with him a little bit harder. And giving him a push right out of the gate, right around the time like Booker T came in, RVD came in. I think that he really could have landed really well in the roster, possibly even been a world title guy. I don't know. But I know that the ceiling was still very high on him in ECW, and that's his best work. So I think that we didn't see the best of him, and sadly we never will. Great commentary work and Ring of Honor.
Yes.
Too. Oh yeah, great. I mean, great overall.
In MLW and the origination of MLW, Steve Corino was a huge part, not only as a performer, but as a commentator, as a talent buyer, dude.
He was the Chris Jericho of MLW.
Okay. I cannot possibly agree with you more.
Yeah.
All right.
Jesse, where you at number 3?
My silver.
Yeah.
Your bronze.
No.
We're still at 3s.
Yeah, we're 3s. I just did I'm the first one on the 3.
Oh, I thought. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. My bad. My bronze then.
Yeah.
Hayabusa.
Oh, God. These are so good.
Didn't make the cut for me. God damn it.
Hayabusa, man. God, that's a great one, dude. That's a great one. I think FMW isn't that without him.
It's simply... It's the innovation of everything that we saw through video games, through videos, through anything that everyone is like, what the fuck is this? And I would argue that most of the people that we really adore, like the Hardys and the Bucks and everybody else, like what they saw that he invented, I would say really went much farther than we all know Onita was the inventor of FMW. We all know that.
Yeah.
But I feel like Hayabusa invented much more that was relevant to the people that were watching it, that we were like, oh shit, maybe we could or would want to do that.
Yeah.
Dude, he took the Liger Ultimo Dragon stuff and combined it with the Onita stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, to me, like, shoulda, coulda, woulda, that dude at some point in time, look at Heatwave 1998 in ECW. You look at him and Jinsei Shinzaki, and you see that tag match, and you're like, against RVD and Sabu, and at the time, it looks like jack shit. But as you move forward, you see that that's what everyone is fucking doing.
Yeah.
Literally everyone.
Yeah.
So Hayabusa is my bronze medal. Sorry that I forgot which medal we were on.
Oh, that's all good. That's awesome. That's a great pick too, man. Hayabusa was a big influence on me, like right out of high school and going into like wrestling. As like, I think Hayabusa was one of the first like international Japanese matches that I saw. It was incredible, man. It was really good. That dude was just insane. Everything was just so smooth. It's a shame how things ended up for him, but yeah, that sucks, man. He was so good.
You take the risk, and sometimes it gets risky.
Yep.
And the next bronze.
And coming up for me, for my bronze medal, this dude is literally like, when we talk about Hayabusa and modern style, like he innovated so many moves, and when it comes down to it, like drugs and personal problems really took him out of it. And I'm going Chris Kanyon, number 3.
Wow. Nice. Well done.
And like, just like I said, he, like his time as Mortis and all of his run through WCW, it was cool, but like, like I said, he was a 2 ahead of his time. Like so many moves, like the Young Bucks, like all of our favorite wrestlers, they literally watched him, and it's modeled right after him. And if it wasn't for, modern society not liking gay people and his drug problem, like if he would have came like 10 years, 20 years later, he could have been the shit, because he wouldn't have that stigma on him. And it's, I think things would have went differently. But Chris Kanyon, fucking amazing. Every match I've ever watched of him is fucking, even his later few TNA appearances, it's still just good to see that dude.
We literally just watched last night, my partner and I, the Dark Side of the Ring on Chris Kanyon for the very first time that my partner had ever seen it, and it was the first time I rewatched it, and it was like, man, like to think about what that meant now. It's absolutely insane, because at this point in time, no one would give 2 fucks. And at the time, I don't think anyone gave 2 fucks, but like if
you were a wrestler and you saw those moves, you're like, oh, fuck, like what?
But if you came up from that wrestling territory and from the locker room culture and all that stuff, I can totally understand it. I mean, like it's crazy.
Rest in peace, Chris Kanyon.
Absolutely.
Rest in peace, for sure. So I feel like my silver medal is going to be the most controversial one on this show, for sure. Okay. Because some people will argue, oh, well, he did. He made it. He's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer even. But I don't think that I should say, as a singles competitor, ever got the shine. I think he could have carried a company with his promo and with his work. And I think that my number 2, like, this is crazy to say. I know it's going to sound crazy, but my number 2 is Arn Anderson, because I do feel like if he's not with Ric Flair, Arn Anderson could possibly have surpassed him, could possibly have been literally better. I mean, his promo, because honestly, like, there was a lot of, no pun intended, but Flair, a lot of 80s, a lot of fab with Flair, and he
still had that yelling 80s style promo.
Yes, but Arn was just a great promo. He was just a great methodical, and we yell sometimes. It was the 80s, but he was just very good.
But he was definitely methodical.
Yes, and I feel like, and there's other guys you talk about at the time, like, Mr. Perfect and all that, but like, I think Arn was better, and I think that Arn, great tag. But let's be honest, he's in the Hall of Fame for being tag teams, and that's.
I'll give one argument.
Okay.
I don't believe Arn wanted to be past where he was.
And that's fine. But I would argue that
woulda, kind of doesn't apply, because I don't think he wanted to. I think he wanted to be the best world television champion, which he was. He was there every fucking week. That meant a different thing at that point in time. He was the best world tag team champion with the Brainbusters. That meant a different thing at that point.
I agree. I'm not saying he didn't have a phenomenal career. I mean, he's a worthy Hall of Famer. I'm just saying I still think he never got his ceiling. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's a solid pick. He did have a good run, but I think he could have a little bit more. He could have been a little bit better. Just could have been a Mount Rushmore guy is what I'm saying.
I agree that he could have, but here's the thing.
Didn't want to.
I don't think he wanted to.
I hear you. And that's a valid argument. It's a valid argument.
All right, then. All right, Jesse. Who is your silver?
This is going to be even better.
Not John Silver, just kidding, but who is it?
Y'all going to fucking hate me.
Oh, my God. Here it comes.
The franchise.
Oh, no, that's not what I thought you were going with.
Shane Douglas.
I like that. I actually like that.
Goddamn Shane Douglas.
Okay.
And the thing is, I know he got in his own way.
Oh,
he did.
1,000%.
All over the fucking place, he got in his own way. But I also think, and as much as we love to too sweet, like crazy, all over the place,
he hates the clinic.
The deal is, he really got in his own way. And the thing is, he's a great fucking promo.
Yeah. It's a good promo.
A fantastic fucking promo, in fact.
Yeah.
He also invented Extreme Championship Wrestling as opposed to Eastern Championship Wrestling.
He did.
That whole thing is absolutely fucking undeniable.
Legendary promo.
He's a fantastic wrestler bell to bell. He's a great promo. He's a fantastic person to have valets behind him. He's like, I mean, it's just one of those things where at the end of the day, the reason he's my silver medal is because he could have had those opportunities and fucking refused to in a lot of ways.
Yeah. No, I don't hate that. I mean, that's a good pick.
I think Shane Douglas absolutely could have been on the level of a lot of the other people that we think about in our Mount Rushmores, except he allowed himself not to be.
I agree.
Wex.
Silver medal.
Hey, coming in at number 2 for me. He was a wrestler that had a great career. Like, he peaked. He was like almost at quite the top of the mountain, had some memorable matches, but it came down to drugs and stuff that really ruined his career and death prematurely. And at number 2 for me is the Samoan bulldozer Umaga.
Oh, I like that. That's good. That's really good. That's a good pick.
And during his run when he was still alive, like he was really getting there. And I think he could have been like Roman Reigns level before Roman Reigns.
Oh, I agree.
He could have been the Samoan guy, like the first guy that is as big as The Rock or even surpassed The Rock. It's just, just like his – what?
He was sponsored by the president.
Oh, yeah, he was sponsored. No, he was actually sponsored by – yeah, he was Umaga Vince's guy or Trump's
Bobby
guy?
Lashley was Vince's guy.
Okay, I really don't remember. Whatever, even if he was endorsed by he was endorsed by a fucking president. Even though that president may not be the greatest, but hey, presidents are presidents. Fuck them all. But Umaga, he was just really badass in his time. That match against John Cena he had, that street fight, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about.
Was that SummerSlam?
Yes.
Or Survivor Series? It was one of the big.
It was one of the two. It was one of the
big pay-per-views,
yeah.
It was a goddamn banger, and he really had the potential. Like, unfortunately, most of the Samoans, some of his brothers, his cousins, like drugs and stuff got to him, but he really could have been that guy, and he like almost was that guy. He was like, he never really passed the mid card. He was like upper mid card, like a few main event matches, but I really think he had the potential to just really kill it. And rest in peace to all the Samoans, Rosie, Umaga, all of them.
But, I mean, one of Umaga's first matches was to squash Ric Flair.
Yes, I remember that. We watched that and covered this on this show. So, I mean, Umaga, they had something behind him. It's just he got released, and then came back and drugs. And, I blame the WWE drug culture at the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a solid pick. I mean, I'm not mad at it. It makes perfect sense. And here we are at number 1s, right? We're going for the gold here.
I have a really bad feeling that a lot of our gold might be similar.
I don't know. So. We've been all over the place, so I don't know.
I don't think so.
I
thought we would.
You took death into consideration, and I didn't. So
yeah, I thought we would. Honestly, I thought we would have all said this name by now. I was worried that one of you was going to. And I can this dude was a world champion, but he never got the run that he deserved. I've talked about it for years. It's 1,000% Dolph Ziggler for me. He's the number 1 shoulda, coulda, woulda. I mean, he's like, there's no doubt. I mean, he's the best. Like, and that's 1,000% because of bad booking. Like, it's 1,000% not any of his own doing. He's definitely a good promo. He's never been put in good enough storylines to where it's really shown until recently when he had his NXT run. But let's be honest, he kind of had like the new generation NXT title run. Like, it wasn't, you know what I mean? It's like the lowest level of NXT it had ever been when no one was watching NXT. I think they had just gotten off of USA or were just streaming on Peacock at that. It just started.
So he was like Sid world champion, maybe?
Yes, exactly. He was Sid level or Diesel level world champion.
Diesel Sid, okay.
So it's like, and it's just, I don't know. That dude should have gotten the run around the time that Orton and Cena just dominated for those years. Like,
dude, that
5,
one Survivor
years,
Series where he was the sole survivor.
Yeah.
And like he was so over, they just didn't give a fuck.
He really should have had a hell of a run from like 2011 to 2013. Like around that time, that's 2 or 3 years, he should have been on top, multiple world titles in the main event picture.
That was the worst booking era of WWE in recent memory.
Yes, for sure. And I would still argue that today, if you put him in the ring with Kenny Omega today, he's putting on a classic.
Dude, he's an HBK level in ring wise. He can work like a motherfucker.
He is. He is that good. He is that good. Yeah, I mean, number 1 overall, Dolph Ziggler, no doubt. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Jesse Baker, you're number 1.
2 of 3.
You also picked Dolph?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that mine's different.
Oh, wow.
All right, James Dean. What the fuck is it?
All right. The person I picked for number 1, another thing, really injury, drugs, and death really kind of fucked this dude up. And he was so ahead of his time. The things he was doing and the way he was doing shit like MJF's kind of doing it these days. And I'm talking about Brian Pillman Sr., the original.
Okay.
Honestly, if he wouldn't have died when he did, he could have had a Stone Cold-like run. Like, he was on that way. The shit he was doing was so innovative. And even if it wasn't Stone Cold, it could have been like a Kenny Omega type run, like the alternative badass motherfucker. And just, like I said, like the stuff he was doing at the time was unprecedented. Like, he basically tricked Eric Bischoff, signed with WWE, just doing everything he was doing at the time. And if it wasn't for his injuries and his drug problems, like his body was just fucked at that point. His mind, he came up with some really good shit. His body just couldn't quite work with that. Yeah, and not to say he didn't have a great career in the past, but I really feel like if he wouldn't have got hurt, wouldn't have died, all the drugs, like he could have been that guy. Like his trajectory, the stuff he was doing.
If he just stayed healthy.
No, exactly. Healthy and all that stuff. Like, and he tried. His body was just giving out on him. And it just sucks. Like, what could have been with him? Because, like, just going back and watching some of his promos and some of the stuff from that time, like, he'd already died by the time I'd really been heavy into it. But, dude, he was just so innovative and way ahead of his time. I think Brian Pillman could have been, like I said, world champion material. Even if it was with WCW or another company, he could have been a world champion.
Definitely. No doubt about that. Don't hate that pick. Man, I think we all had really good lists this week. Really, really good list this week. And last week's list, we did WCW cruiserweights, or not just WCW, but any cruiserweight, really, the top 5. So that's going to lead us to our next segment, the game portion of our show, if you will. And it's going to be Who Am I? Cruiserweight Champion Edition. All right. And Wex, I'd like you to kick things off this time.
All right, good. So that means I don't have to use 2 picks, and I can just start with one of them because, I pick a little alternate in case one of you will pick them. But I'm going to go ahead and start it off. Who am I? I am a 3-time WCW/WWE Cruiserweight Champion. I am a wrestler that has appeared for WCW, WWE, TNA, ROH, and AEW throughout the years. And I have had 3 different successful, different gimmicks throughout my career.
Matt Hardy?
Close. Not Matt Hardy, but I'll say close.
Jeff Hardy?
Not Jeff Hardy. We're talking about cruiserweight champions here. Matt was, but Jeff wasn't. Matt was, Jeff wasn't. Right. Jeff was light heavyweight, I guess, but...
Was I a superhero during my scenario?
Yes, you were.
Am I Shane Helms?
That's 100% who it is. Awesome. Shane Helms.
That's a good one, guys. I think that's the best we've ever done at this game. We're getting good at it.
That's very quick, yeah.
I knew it was going to take some time, guys. But we're getting good at it.
I didn't want to go too obscure. I was going to pick Prince Iokea, but I didn't go with that one.
Oh, I love it. That's solid. I am going to go ahead and give you mine here then. I was a 3-time WCW Cruiserweight champion and a 4-time WWE Cruiserweight champion. I am a 1-time WWE Tag Team champion, and I got Worst Feud of the Year in 2000. Who am I?
Do I currently still wrestle for WWE?
No.
Okay.
Do I currently still wrestle?
No.
Okay. Have I wrestled for WWE since the 2000s?
Yes.
Okay. So you said a 4-time WWE Cruiserweight champion?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I still work for the WWE?
Yes.
I'm not 100% certain, but I can say that you do work in the business still.
Did I have a really bad storyline including my redneck sister?
No.
Okay.
No.
Wow, this is getting pretty tough here.
It's not. I mean, it's not a super tough. It's not a super obscure one. All right, you guys ready?
3-time
Right.
WCW, 4-time WWE.
Yes.
Was I ever in a faction?
Yes.
Make a guess?
Yes.
Billy Kidman.
Yes.
Fuck yeah! Yes.
And the worst feud of the year, was the feud versus Hulk Hogan in WCW 2000.
Oh,
which was like the shit show. Yeah, yes.
That was horrible. Yeah.
It was terrible. Yes. Yeah.
Blue Jeans, Billy Kidman.
My lifeline was going to be my peers say that my biggest accomplishment was not in professional wrestling.
Okay. I feel like I got one.
Okay.
I dated 3 performers in the business, including the late Ashley Massaro.
Okay.
My WWF debut was against Nikolai Volkov.
That's old as fuck. Okay.
Over 15,000 signatures were made on a petition to reinstate me in 2005. Who am I?
Was I a cruiserweight champion in the WWE?
Yes.
Okay.
Was I ever a tag team champion?
Yes.
Was I born in America?
Yes.
Am I Matt Hardy?
Yes.
That was quick.
That was good. That was really good. Man, this has been a great one. I'm really excited. We got one more game before we wrap things up here. This is a new one we're trying out. And this is a would you rather. It's not really a game. It's just more like an opinion segment, right? Mm-hmm. So, last week we did CM Punk, which at the time was still the champion before the crazy, or had just like dropped the title, I guess. But yeah, and we kind of compared some of like top level people here, and we're talking about this amazing weekend in pro wrestling and the long title run of Mr. Roman Reigns and how this run has been his run. So the game now is would you rather. So I'll say Roman Reigns, and then I'll say another wrestler, and then you'll have to tell me if you had to start a company today, would you use this guy or Roman Reigns? Are you ready?
I'm all right.
All right. Roman Reigns or John Moxley?
Reigns.
I'm going Reigns all day.
Would you say Mox, Jesse?
I did.
Okay.
Reigns.
Roman Reigns or Kenny Omega?
Kenny Omega.
Roman Reigns. Ooh.
Omega.
Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins?
Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I'm going Rollins on this one too. This is probably the hardest one. Roman Reigns or MJF?
MJF, dude. MJ fucking F. He's MJF all the way.
God, that's tough for me. That's tough. I don't know. I really don't know. Like that. I feel like we're talking about a small percentage in success here.
Heel versus heel, MJF. But if you're about babyface versus babyface,
I mean,
Roman
I'm saying overall. Like if like
I'm talking about overall. If I want to fucking put my weight behind anything with capital, I'm telling you right now, you can hear the Southern coming out right now.
Yeah, telling you right now.
I'm telling you right now, it is fucking MJF.
Yeah, MJF is the truth, 100%. I'd put all my Southern money behind that dude from Long Island.
Okay. MJF it is. And the last one here, he's gotten more 5-star matches in the past few months than tons of other wrestlers. Will Ospreay or Roman Reigns?
Ospreay.
Reigns.
I'm going Ospreay.
I'm going Reigns.
Reigns.
I'm going Reigns. I just think he's more sellable. I think that there's a
limit.
There's a limit to acrobatic ability. There's a limit to that.
There's also, here's the deal. Roman Reigns, like, look, one's going to fake leukemia and one's going to fake injuries. It doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, it's like,
hot take.
At least depends on how much you pay him. If I have $1 billion, it doesn't really matter.
Hey, I'm saying someone like Ospreay. I mean, Roman Reigns has been around for a while. Whether he did his whatever or whatever happened to him, Ospreay. I feel like that whole like British like thing is cool now. Like, hey, bruv, blah blah blah.
No, I think this is the best he's ever been.
I think wrestling fans are ready for something new. I think if you pushed him in the right way, it could be very successful. I mean, Roman Reigns isn't bad, but I think we're ready for something new, fresh, young.
$1 and I'm trying to fucking start a promotion.
Roman Reigns is timeless, though.
Versus Reigns, I'm sorry, man. It's Reigns. Like,
I just
Roman Reigns could be this over if he was in the 80s. He could be this over if he was in the 90s, the early 2000s, or now. Ospreay could only be this over right now. He could only be this over right now.
I don't know.
And I'm not saying he's not over right now.
If the internet did not exist, no one would give 2 fucks about Will Ospreay.
I disagree, but the internet's been around for most of the modern good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the internet now. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but like, I mean, I do think Will Ospreay is better now than he's ever been, and I do think he's finally an actual main event talent because his promos are really good now, and they weren't always. But he's gotten really good on the mic, and I love what he's doing. I love that faction that he's got going on. I mean, he's doing the best work of his life for sure, but the shelf life here is 4 to 5 years left of this level tops at most.
Also, who gave 2 fucks about Aussie Open until they appeared on AEW television?
I still don't care about Aussie Open, to be honest, but
the thing is, they put on one of the best matches, 2 of the best matches, 3 of the best matches that have happened in the last several weeks of AEW.
Great matches, yeah.
And they took a very good callback to PWG with some of those spots. Like, it was poetry in motion.
You know what the difference is? PWG didn't have fucking television.
Yeah, but people saw it.
They had DVDs, and I bought that fucking shit because I love me some guy. I love it, or used to really love some PWG back when it was really hard to get that exclusive shit. But I'm still watching DVDs out here, boys. I don't know about you. I'm still got the PS3 playing DVDs.
Yeah, but I don't want to have to work for it. Nor does anyone else. Nobody wants to have to work for it. Can you watch it on TV and it looks good?
I don't know. Sometimes the chase is just as good, if you know what I'm saying. I like hunting down shit, so I don't know. It's cool to find some shit.
That's solid. Man, we had a hell of an episode today. Like, it was really good. I really like the fact that we ran down arguably one of the better weekends in wrestling this year. I mean, I'm genuinely excited about all 3 shows. And 3 shows in one weekend, and I'm hyped about it. It's not happening in a very long time.
There's no way I'm watching all 3 in the weekend, but we all have Monday off, the holiday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it back. Shane Douglas, triple threat.
Yeah, nice. Oh, it is a triple threat. It's a triple threat weekend, and yeah, like Wex said, let's just say this: I will have watched all of them in their entirety by the time we do next week's show. I'm really hype about the review for next week for sure. But the meat and potatoes of next week, it's kind of similar to this one, where it's not so much like a shoulda, coulda, woulda, but more like they are where they belonged. Their ceiling worked out. Like, we're going to do the top 5 mid-carders of all time.
Oh,
the top 5 were good in their spot, should have been there, were booked in the right spot, and had a good career. Your favorite top 5 mid-carders. That's going to be next week. And then, of course,
the internet loves Cody Rhodes. They're his number 1 favorite mid-carder. I don't know if you guys remember that fucking tweet. That still cracks me up till this day. It's like, he's like, you're a mid-carder. He's like, what do you mean I'm a mid-carder? He's like, but you're my favorite mid-carder.
I love it.
Great.
I love it.
Shit.
So
fucking outrageous on Twitter.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so next week also for the game, the Would You Rather part of the game, since I feel like NXT is having a resurgence, we're going to just say the top 5 NXT, or not the top 5, we're going to do a Who Am I NXT Superstar. Like it has to
NXT
be
champion or just NXT?
Okay,
NXT champions.
NXT champions. So we're going to do NXT champions for the Who Am I next week. I'm really excited, man. Top 5 mid-carders, Who Am I NXT Championship edition. It's going to be a really good one. I'm excited about the wrestling we got to watch this week. I'm excited for the show. Season 5, our final season, is a banger. I'm liking the format here. I'm loving the engagement from the TikTok and the Twitter specifically. If Wex can behave himself and keep himself on Twitter this time, that would be great. Now we got to the script's changed, by the way. We had a little rewrite. We had a little rewrite in the screenplay here. So I'll let him get to that in a minute. But you can always find me at Daniel Daybreak literally everywhere. And I behave myself. I'm a human. So I have some restraint. I'm not just out here slandering people all over the interwebs and getting banned from social media sites. Yeah, you can always find me at Daniel Daybreak. You can find the show at KayfabeCom on Facebook and YouTube. We are Kayfabe Comparisons. On TikTok, we are KayfabeCom Pod. On Instagram, we are just KayfabeCom. Yeah. So yeah, find us there. And Wex, the rewritten script, give it to him, man. Where can they find you now?
It's pretty much the same. You can still find me on all social media platforms if you search Wex Breaking the Lawson, but my official new Twitter handle is just at Wex Lawson, but the name is still Wex Breaking the Lawson if you want to search that up. Yeah, some people were saying some disparaging shit on Twitter, so I was like, tell me you're a punk ass bitch without telling me you're a punk ass bitch. And then I got fucking banned.
That
was
hard.
After multiple times of me, just giving it to him, and if I'm not gonna hold back. If it's deserved, it's deserved. No unwarranted shit talking, but I can't take no Jushin Thunder Liger slander on my timeline. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's silly, but at the same time, it's like, do you follow that person? Just put them out of your timeline.
No, I was just, I was having fun, just talking shit one day. I didn't think it would lead to that, but they were like one of those little MAGA fools who claim to be this and that, but still snitch on the internet, snitch hard. So fuck y'all motherfuckers, and follow at Wex Lawson on Twitter if you like me, and I will say nice things.
Well,
this is pretty nice. It's like I said, it's not unwarranted shit talking. It's just if you give me the business, I'll give you the business back. But holler at your boy. Follow us on TikTok. Jesse, what you got?
Man, I'm just the same old dude. You can find me at the same old places, except for probably not
the same
Nashville.
old G, like Genuine. I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying. Probably not Nashville so much over the next couple of days and forever. But, yeah. Jesse Baker, patron saint of the kayfabe comparisons, but not so much the patron saint of the rock block. Jesse Baker Nash, Instagram, Jesse Baker Nash, Twitter, Jesse Baker Nash. I don't know.
Everywhere
else.
Everywhere.
Fuck yeah, Jesse.
Everywhere.
Before we get off, I want to do a shout out. Today is a 901 day for Memphis, Tennessee. I know Daniel says, we have a rivalry with Nashville, but I still hold it down for the 901 for the Memphis. I love my Tennessee brethren.
That's fine. That's cool.
I don't even know what that means.
901's the area code for Memphis. Today's September the 1st, just like we have June the 15th. 615. Come on now, get with it.
I love that you just compare the Memphis area code to Juneteenth. That's interesting.
No, that's just June 19th, jackass. Juneteenth is June 19th.
That's right. You're 15th,
right, damn it. 615. So we'll get it right one day, but I just love Tennessee. I love all of you.
Last one there.
Yeah, it's the worst when
you just served it. Like
it's the worst when you fuck up on an insult. It's like literally the worst thing that can happen. But yeah,
we love Tennessee and we love wrestling. We'll holler at you guys next week.
Just like Donald Trump, Wex is going to try to not get kicked off Twitter this week, but it's too late there. We'll see you guys next week. We're out. Peace.